Hey, beautiful internet motherfuckers. Really quick one question survey. Should I be numbering these episodes? Because I honestly do not know how many of these I've done at this point. But the idea is multiple uploads a day. It's a video diary. It's my running stream of consciousness. This is me in all of my meanness. So yeah, leave a comment and tell me, should I be numbering these or should I not be numbering these? Because I don't know, I'm kind of liking my flow in titling right now, but numbers seem good. Who knows? So I'm on my way to get a coffee for the simple sake of being able to say that I walked into a place and I bought myself a thing to drink by my own means at night, because that right was sure as fuck stripped from me for a little while. And I know everybody thinks that fuck motorcycles, to be honest. Like, god damn it, why the fuck does a car have to have a fucking muffler, but fucking motorcycles get to take up all of the acoustic space for like a mile around with no issue? Fuck it. I get that people people feel like the curfew did a thing, but okay, whatever. I feel like my rights were infringed. I'm on my way to get a coffee right now, and I just wanted to kind of reflect, now that curfew's over, on where this whole thing came from. Because I read and watched a thing about Jane Goodall earlier, and Dr. Goodall, let's give her title, Dr. Jane Goodall, and the proper due respect that goes with this magnificent, magnanimous person, says that our disrespect of nature and of animals is what led to the coronavirus pandemic. And my instinctive reaction, I gotta say, was no. With all due respect, Dr. Goodall, no. Our disrespect for humans and our racism is what did this, but that was a knee-jerk reaction based on the headline, and it was completely fucking unfounded once I looked at the content of what she was saying. Because, I mean, it's Dr. Jane Goodall. You're not going to find many more intelligent fucking people on Earth. Basically, her point is very solid. And it comes down to, if you treat animals with respect, instead of treating them like food and disposable units, you don't end up in these situations where over-farming and the mix of over-farming and over-hunting smash into each other in wet markets and create pandemic-type diseases. Really, really solid, good fucking point, and thank you for that, Dr. Goodall. My point, though, still stands on it being our disrespect of each other and our racism that smashed into each other and really caused this. Because, first of all, you had the US president literally admit that he had the CDC underplay and lie about a pandemic as it was ravaging his country and killing tens of thousands of his people. The most mild had to hit pause on recording for a second there, because wouldn't you know that crossing one of the busiest streets in town the night the curfew was lifted was actually a rather noisy experience. But yeah, the most mild amount of human empathy would have fixed that problem with the US president. You had people freaking the fuck out and not wearing masks and literally beating people and shooting people. Gonna let this car go by. This is gonna be a whole thing ruining my night walks now. You had people beating people and shooting people for telling them to wear a mask, the most basic amount of courtesy. Then you had people saying that coronavirus isn't real, it's just a Chinese plot because you know them schemy Chinese. And that's where the racism comes into all of it. And, you know, then you had people with, it's all coming from Mexico, so let's put our efforts into fucking with Mexicans instead of fixing the problem. And then you had people not wanting to shut the United States out because, hey, it's America. It's the country full of English-speaking Christian white folk. They can't be the source of disease, can they? And all that conflated into itself into like, we're fucked. And just to kind of like cap it all off, there's the fact that we've got a fucking gutted, underfunded healthcare system, which really didn't help. Here's the thing. In China, they shut the fucking thing down. They shut down, which, by the way, December 2019, the Chinese government was like, hey, we're going to shut down Hubei province, the province that generates most of our economy. Even though our economy and the development of it is basically the most important thing to us right now to make up for the century of humiliation, we're going to shut that whole fucking thing down because this is a terrifying disease. And we went, yeah, it's just the Chinese. That's also racism kind of built into this. But whatever, they shut it down. And they built 2 new hospitals in 11 days to deal with this. And they were delivering food, medicine, and everything else to people's doorstep to make sure that they didn't have to go out. And they didn't have to go to work. And nobody had to get in contact with each other. And it took them 3 months and they were done. It's been well over a year now that China reopened fully. Nightclubs and pool parties and shit reopened fully. We're barely halfway reopened. Because we didn't feel like putting money into healthcare and social services, so we couldn't possibly do anything but continue to force people to go to work and force people to get into close physical contact with one another and with the public. And we had no choice because we had chosen to flip each other off about the most basic social requirements like a healthcare system, an education system, secure housing, that type of shit, for so long that, yeah, it was basically guaranteed that as soon as we had anything properly infectious and contagious, we were going to be fucked, beyond fucked. So, a little less racism, a little more thinking about others before yourself, and there just wouldn't have been this whole thing. It would have been over last June at the latest. We wouldn't even need to all be lining up for vaccines because we would be able to just be distributing them to the poor countries on earth. But nah, that's not the route we chose. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the route that we're going to choose going forward either, and that is a fucking tragedy. So, major praise to Dr. Goodall's astute analysis of maybe eat less meat or none at all. Don't fuck with animals. You'll get less animal-borne diseases. And take care of your damn neighbors. And there won't be this type of problem. So, peace. And may it last.